Okay, this is gonna be fun in the sense that I have to now test my ability to do colors. And I have no clue what colors I want to use, so I'm assuming that I'm gonna do purples and blues, but we'll see. Because basically what I'm going to do is usually I do line art and then I do colors, but in this case I'm going to try and kind of just block in colors and then do line art over that to try and get the best result. But I don't know how that's going to turn out, so it could be really awesome or it could be not so great. We will see. Yeah, this is either going to work out really well or really not well. And I'm not really sure how to predict what it's going to do. Oh, that explains a lot. Do I even know how? Gosh dang it, I feel like I don't know how lights work. So I'm like trying stuff and I don't know that it's gonna turn out. Oh, okay. Maybe it's just because I'm too close to it. Nope, wrong brush. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna try and do something similar on this side. Okay, I think if I just keep with the system I've got going, that when I'm done, it'll look like kind of what's in my head. It's always kind of scary though, because it's like, oh, you know, is it gonna look right? Is it gonna turn out? Am I just doing a bunch of work for nothing? And that's what I'm feeling right now. So it's very kind of spooky, not gonna lie. Let's see, I remember you, the person who gave me a really nice comment on my video game console fighting game video. Thank you. No problem. You know, I'm not making up crap when I comment on people's videos. You know, if I say I like it, it's because I do. If anything, most of the time, I feel like I don't have enough words to properly tell people how good I think their stuff is. So, okay. And this is either going to turn out so good or so bad. I can't tell. Thing is, I can't put too much detail work or it'll start to look, can't even think of what the word is, like, what is the word? It'll look too staged, too symmetrical or whatever. That's not the word I'm thinking of, but it is the point I'm trying to make. Oh, dang. Okay. This is difficult because I, like, have to have it so it looks... contrasted, I guess. I have a feeling that this video is going to be a lot of me just trying to play around with the colors until I find something that makes me feel like it looks right. Okay. Ooh, okay. So I feel like this is kinda... So, she's in a cave, is what's going on. With the treasure chest, right? So, and then you see the outside with, like, the water and the ship and the actual island. Which will be super cool if I do it right, but I feel like maybe purple isn't the way to go. I don't know. Okay. I guess I'll just keep going with it. Okay. That's a rock. Let's see. I think the colors are fine. If it was something closer to gray, then I feel like it would clash a little bit with her. Looks really good so far. That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about if I made it more gray. Because honestly, I was thinking maybe more blue. But I guess that would take it more into a grayer area. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Okay. I am going to continue with what I'm doing, and I'm going to trust myself and my knowledge. I am going to go in with a darker purple, though, for contrast, because I think occasionally... Nope, that's not what I meant to do. It needs a little bit extra. Like with this rock here specifically, like it starts to go into being the same color. And then you can't tell what's going on, so... I'm gonna try and up that contrast a little bit. Okay. See, like, that's good. Lighting has never been my strong suit, so of course I decided to do something that very much relies on me being good at lighting, so there we go. Wrong layer. Yeah, I feel like if I can do the cave, then the rest of it will kind of just fall into place. You know, like I can do water, I can do, you know, the trees or whatever. Those aren't that difficult for me. I mean, there have been times, but generally I can do those pretty okay. So I feel like I just have to get past these rocks, because I don't do rocks very often. It's because I don't really like to. And honestly, when I do stuff like this, it's like, do I even know what rocks look like? Have I seen a rock in my life, period? Okay. I'm on the wrong layer. Oh well, I'm gonna merge these in just a little bit, so I'm not gonna go fix that. Hmm. Okay. Oh, wrong color. Right now I'm just trying to add a little bit more of this darker purple throughout the cave, so out of place when it's shading the rock. Okay. I feel like it's turning out. Like, I look at it and I think this will probably be okay. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, I know what I want to do, and I think it comes down to making this, oh, hold on, shade just a little bit better. Okay, that feels like it's trying to look like shading more. Just trying to make my lines look just a little bit more jagged. Because otherwise it looks too smooth, like a marble floor rather than a cave floor, and I need it to look like a cave floor. Okay. It's starting to come together. If I looked at that, I could believe that's a cave. That's pretty much all I wanted, so I'm gonna go with it. Let's see. I did want some texture on the ground, so I'll go ahead and add that. And last but not least, well, actually, ooh, hold on, okay. I'm gonna need a shadow. Do I add it now or later? I'm gonna merge these layers because I believe they're good enough for what I want them to be. Actually, nope, never mind. I saw something I want to change. Oh, oh, I see what. Okay. Now I feel like it's good enough to merge the layers. Okay. Now I want to probably pull on the watercolor I've been using throughout this entire process. Just for consistency, I'm gonna use the same colors. There we go. Okay. Okay. I mean, it's looking kind of like what I want it to, so I'm not going to complain at all. And then oh, I hate when I'm on the wrong layer. Okay, and then dang, my fingers are not hitting where I need them to go. Yeah, that's a way better color. Okay. Is it the right color though, you know? Okay. Go with that. That is that. Oh, I drew it. Okay, that is. So that's kind of how it's gonna look. And then I should probably actually make the island more green. Hold on, I'm looking up deserted island to try and get a sense of the green to just sand ratio for what I'm picturing. Okay, so it looks like I probably want all of the island sand and whatnot that I have right now to be more green. And then I want to add like a coastline here. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's see, filter, change color. I'm just gonna add more green to it. Okay. And then this one, same thing, but we want it lighter. And then that's when I come in with this like coastline of white sand and whatnot. And then I gotta figure out what angle I want it to be because that's gonna dictate a lot. Hmm. Kind of like that. But actually, I'm looking at this reference photo. It kind of looks more like something like that. Kind of ends up looking something like this. Okay, I'm not unhappy with that. I'm just going to add a little bit more depth and detail to the island itself. And then maybe like a seagull. No, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still thinking about it. Okay, yeah, no, I'm feeling good about this. So I'm just going to go into the island itself and add just a little bit of texture probably. Okay. Okay, there's some detail and depth there now. And now probably start working with this. There we go. I just need enough contrast to like make it all look like they're not blurring together. Man, this will be a beast to undo if I decide that I don't want to do it anymore. Let's see, maybe this would be a good time to use the smudging tool since it's in the background, kind of. And I'll give it more of a blurry look, which will make it so the more, well, if I can read, the focus of the picture better on important. I probably will end up doing that. I like to, so the way I do my backgrounds, which I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but it is a way to do it. I usually do everything not blurry. Like everything is very on purpose, right? And then at that point, so I save my foreground, in this case, of the background, which is the cave, right? That will be one layer. The island itself will be another layer. And then the sky, water, sand part of the island will all be the backest part. And there'll be its own layer as well. And then I can control the blur of each of those. But I know it looks right from the very beginning, I guess. I don't know if that made sense. But basically it's like, out of your background, I usually have about 3 different layers of focus. Yeah. I don't know where I'm going with it. It makes sense in my head. Yeah. Okay, so this also means that I would need to move my little ship back. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna do the tree next. Yeah. I also like to save my, the backgrounds that I do. Like, I have a folder full of stuff that's just backgrounds from various drawings that I've done. And that is to that's mostly so that I can reuse them. I never end up actually reusing backgrounds. At least not enough that it, like, makes it worth saving them, I guess. But just in case I have to do something that calls back to a previous background, I do that. And my point in telling you all this may not have even existed. Hold on, what was my point? Oh, that is why I like to save them as, like, layers, and also without having anything blurred, because if I blur it, then I can't go in and use it not blurred. And so, like, if I were to reuse this image for some other video, maybe I'd want to focus on the background for a little bit before focusing on the character, I guess. Like, that's not what I'm going to be doing this time, but it's always a possibility. So I like to save them as fully fledged backgrounds, I suppose. Man, words are not coming to me today. This palm tree has got me too focused. See, I guess that makes sense. I never thought of reusability, because I tend to do more hand-drawn animation. Not good, but it's something. But it makes sense. Yeah, see, I'm just super lazy. If I don't have to draw the thing again, I might as well not. I love reusing stuff. It's such a, like, it saves so much time. And so, like, yeah, if I can, I will do my best to try and reuse stuff. I also, there is a certain shelf life to the reusability of my art. I feel like, either there comes a point when my style has evolved too much, and then it doesn't make sense to reuse stuff from before, because then you can, like, obviously see it wasn't drawn recent. If it still accurately represents my style, then I go ahead and just reuse it, because most of the time the background is not what people are there to see, I suppose. Like, when I watch my videos, I'm not there looking for amazing backgrounds. I'm more looking for just, like, the story of the video. Or at least that's what I imagine people are there for. So yeah, if I can reuse it, it saves me time. I can put more focus into maybe poses. Um, you know, because I'm only human. I have limitations and whatnot, and I only have a certain amount of energy for any video that I do. And so if I can go in and save energy on the background, then I can put more energy into posing, you know, and like work with more dynamic and interesting poses, which I do love a good pose. Like, heck yeah, but sometimes it just doesn't work out because I have to do a background that I haven't done before, and that's just enough energy that I'm just like, we can wait on the whatever it is, the poses, whatnot. Anyway, so, but like I have stuff from forever ago that I saved to reuse, and I never did, and probably won't ever now at this point because it's obvious that it's old, you know? Like if I take a background from 2 weeks ago and reuse it, then no one's gonna know because my style doesn't change enough in 2 weeks to really tell, I suppose. I mean, people would know because they'd see repeated art, I guess, but that's about it. And to me, that's okay. Anyway, yeah, the goal for me is to try and save time so that I can put that time into a different area. So maybe I try and practice, I don't know, expressions more. If I can save time on the pose or, you know, whatever it is, then I can put that time into the expressions. And it's just kind of trying to balance it all out so I'm doing different stuff each time. I don't like to solely focus on one aspect, right? Like, so I've gotten pretty good at drawing bodies in the line art. So I do that real quick. This pose wasn't too hard because most of it was covered up by the treasure chest. So I saved time in that regard. Now I can go and try and practice my backgrounds a little bit more, which is why this one's taking so dang long. Yeah, it's taking forever. Anyway, I don't know if I'm making my point very well, but that's kind of what's going through my mind when I'm making these videos. Is like, I want to be able to practice all of the parts that go into making an art piece, I suppose. So that's posing, that's expression, that's background, you know, all these different things. And I'd like to practice all of them, but realistically I don't have time to put my full effort into everything. So sometimes we gotta just rely on those muscle memory skills that we have. Anyway, so today's is the background. I'm practicing doing good backgrounds, and that's why it's taking longer. Some days it's doing better posing, and that's my point. It's just kind of like jumping around from different aspect of art to different aspect so that I can practice all of it. Yeah. Let's see, yeah, I get it. Also, do you have software that colors in animation? Because sometimes after I draw each picture, I don't want to color it. It takes hours to get each section done. That, I imagine, is so true. Like, here's the thing. I use Sorry, I got distracted by my Pokemon. I forgot that it's Community Day and I'm looking for shinies. Okay, sorry, yeah, so I actually just color and draw on Ibis Paint. And then I go in and I basically just make a slideshow in iMovie. And that is the process for all of my videos. They're all made in Ibis Paint, move to iMovie, you know, make the slideshow, and that's how it works for all of them. So I don't have something that will color it in. I also have to hand color. The thing I do though is that basically, I don't even know how to explain it. Hold on. So when I do animation and stuff, usually what happens is I draw a body, right? Like that. No arms, just the legs. And then that's a layer. Then, when I want to animate, I go in and draw the arms and color them by themselves. And so now instead of having to color everything again, I'm just coloring the arms. And that's not too hard. I also don't shade because screw that. That takes too long, especially when you're doing, over and over again. So basically I have a base pose and then the arms move around it, and then I only have to color on the arms. And so it saves time on coloring stuff. I hope that made sense. So I guess my answer is no, I don't. I wish. That would be awesome. To just have something to color everything in for you. Because I get it. There are days where I'm coloring and I'm like, this stinks. It's not fun at all. Hold on, I gotta look up what a palm tree looks like. Palm tree. Okay, so they have like... That's not what a palm tree looks like. Gonna try again. Ah, dang it. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna do it in just a second. I have 10 minutes on Community Day, and I'm gonna try and find one more shiny. Let's see. Items. Okay. I'm gonna do it while I draw. Nope, that's not good either. Okay, that's cool. I mean, I was just drawing it. Let's see. I was just drawing it. I wouldn't have access to layers. Maybe I should go digital, but it feels more natural, physical. Oh, okay, so you're doing like physical. Gosh dang. I would not have the patience to even try. Wow, that doesn't look like a palm tree at all. Yeah, I don't know what to say for, like, I don't know. I like digital because when I mess up, I don't have to worry about any of the things that happens when you're doing physical art. What would I do? I suppose that if I were doing it, maybe if you don't want to go fully digital, it might be worth it to do, let's see, what am I thinking? Like a hybrid of digital and physical. So maybe what you do is you go in and draw, I can't think of the word. You know how tweening is the stuff in between? Is it like base frames? I don't know what the word is. Anyway, there's a frame that is like at the end of an action. I swear I know how to animate. Yeah, dang, I don't know what it's called. So the opposite of tweening is the stuff that you would do on physical paper or whatever you know. And then you go in and you do your tween stuff digitally. This makes a lot more sense in my head. Yeah. I don't know, maybe think of some kind of way to do it hybrid so that you're doing stuff physically, but you're also doing it digitally, and then at the very least you're practicing digital as well. And that would be good because practice is always good. I swear I can't think today. Let's see, you mean the in-between frame, right? Yeah, so tweening is the stuff in between the action, I guess. So if I want to throw a ball, right, I would draw my dude rearing up to throw. I don't know what that is. That's awful, right? This would be the word I'm looking for. And then there's also this one where he's like actually throwing it. I swear that, there's the ball being thrown. Anyway, tweening is every frame in between this part of the action and that part of the action. At least that's how I remember it from when I was taking my animation class. It wasn't even an animation class. It was like a class that at some point said, hey, let's take a look at animation for like 2 days, and then we moved on. Keyframes, that's the word! Anyway, maybe you do your keyframes. Thank you so much. Do your keyframes with like physical art, and then do your tweening with your with digital, because you can just take like a photo and then work with that. Then you're practicing with digital. That's great because practice. We love practice. You're doing your keyframes physical, so you're still within your comfort zone. And yeah, I guess if that makes sense. Yeah, keyframes, that's what it's called. Gosh dang. That was kind of my point. And then it would make it easier to color because with digital, I just use the fill-in tool. Love that thing. It saves me so much time. And so you could do stuff like that will save you time on coloring. Even if you do have to end up coloring each frame individually, it's still faster. So, yeah, I suppose that would be my advice. Or like an attempt at a solution. Let's see, I have an idea. Maybe the hybrid goes digital on the backgrounds, physical with the movements of the characters. Yeah, you could totally do that too. Yeah, I feel like a hybrid would probably be pretty good. At the very least, you're starting to practice with both styles. And like traditional art is so awesome, and respect to those who can do it because, you know, I do it occasionally. It is not my favorite way to do art, just because I like the control that I have when doing digital, because at any moment I can just fix whatever mistake I made. But yeah, so dang it, I lost my train of thought again. Digital, however, feels like it's a little bit more applicable to a business sense, I guess. Yeah, so if you're doing business and stuff, or if you're trying to work with it, I suppose, this would be, oh, wrong brush. Digital is a good thing to get used to. Just because it allows for, I don't know, people use it for work. And I mean, there's ways to do it without the digital aspect. You know, you can scan stuff and all that. No bigs, but, oh, I got a shiny, good. Okay, with like 5 seconds to spare. Maybe I can focus a little bit more now. Let's see, understandable. I just love animating and sitting there with pieces of papers. I guess I like to take the harder way, lol. You know what? I can totally get that. There is something so cool about, like, physically. And it was 3 stars, too. Dang, I have 1. Okay, now I can be done with that. So, yeah, whenever I feel that need, because there is something so real about being like, here is a tangible, like, look at this art, there's paper around me, or if you're painting, there's, like, paint, so I'm getting messy, and blah, blah, blah. That is a great feeling, because I guess it does just add, like, a little bit extra layer of real to what you're working on. Like, when I was doing my frog painting, I loved doing that just because it was like I can see and feel, you know, all your senses are going, and it's specifically tied to art. Like, you know, I'm drawing, I can feel what I'm doing, but there's still not that texture aspect, I guess. Let's see. Okay, I guess I'm happy with that. So yeah, but at that point, everything else is just not, I don't know. Like, if I smell something right now, it's not the paint, you know? If I, like, it's not necessarily, it's not as intimate with your art piece, I suppose. Like, I have a drawing I did on, it's a digital drawing, and I am in love with it. Yeah, I love that piece, but there is something missing as far as, like, I really just want to be able to, like, hold it, you know, and feel it, because, like, that's the only way you can interact with the piece other than your eyes. And I don't get to have that because it's digital. I mean, it would not look near as great as it does if it wasn't digital. So I'm not, like, upset or anything by it, but I definitely am thinking about getting it printed just so I can, like, hold it. Anyway, so my point is, yes, I understand why you would want to, like, have all the pieces of paper and all that. Like, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, that kind of looks like they're connected now, so. Hmm. Okay. I was thinking about adding the pirate ship to the water, but I'm kind of not interested in doing that anymore. So I might not, just because then I'd have to figure out the perspective. Like, how big is the ship? And, you know, in relationship to the horizon line and all that. So I'm not sure, but I think this tree will dictate whether or not I put effort into that. If the tree drains me of energy, then I probably won't. If it doesn't, then I might have enough to finish it. Okay. Let's see, I also guess another interesting thing, or maybe opposite depending on the person's opinion, is that my art style is very simple. I know a lot of people like complex art, like JoJo's, but mine's basic. Yeah, that's a point. Blech. That is a point as well. Simplicity versus complexness. that also affects, how all that works. So, there's nothing wrong with a simple style, Sometimes simple styles are the best because they allow you to focus. It's like how I was talking with do I put effort into backgrounds versus whatever today. A simple style allows you to focus more on maybe content rather than looks. So, there's not going to be... There's really no wrong way to do art. It's just a matter of, like, what do you want from it, I guess. Kind of getting frustrated with this tree, but it'll be okay. I never really liked drawing trees in the first place, so this tree and I weren't exactly off to a good start. I wouldn't have even added it, except for I feel like it breaks up the lines that I have going, because everything's very horizontal, so to add something vertical, helps balance everything out. Okay. Okay, I'm going to say that's enough detail, so I'm going to finish this last leaf, and then I guess be done. This tree has left me just enough energy to be willing to try to do the pirate ship. I might quit halfway through that. Depends on if I feel like it's working, but Okay. This tree did turn out better than I thought it would, so that's always nice. Oh hey, that kind of looks like a palm tree. And paired with everything else. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Okay. I feel pretty good about that. There, now they look like hairy little coconuts. I feel like that's not actually how coconuts work, but that's good enough for me today. Let's see, do you do any things besides drawing? I personally do stuff like music, game design, programming, that kind of stuff. I do music, kind of. I have a couple ukuleles and a guitar that I play. So I do stuff like that. Let's see, what else do I do? I don't know, that's kind of the stuff that I like to do. I feel like I probably could do things other than that. I can bake, but that's kind of where we roll to a stop, I suppose. Yeah, drawing's my number one, though. You know, I find that sometimes I go through weeks of school and I just get so stressed out. And it turns out it's just because I wasn't drawing enough during that week. If I can maintain a fairly schedule, or a fairly, what's the word? Steady, that's the word. Steady schedule of drawing, then I can usually get through the week without too much emotional, like, So, drawing is the number one thing I do because it makes me the happiest. Okay, pirate ship. So the last thing I've got to figure out. If I can figure out this pirate ship, then I'm good. I feel like that's probably good enough. Um, hmm. I'm gonna go with it. I'm just gonna do this pirate ship. I'm gonna make it maybe dark blue. Well, I don't know. I can always change the colors because it's just gonna be one color. I'm just gonna see if this works out. I also should be looking at a reference for this, but I'm not. And I think it'll probably end up showing, but I don't particularly care enough to fix it. Okay, I think that's a dark enough blue. Let's see. Have you ever done some programming? It feels like there's not many who do it because it takes a lot of passion, but it's fun to me. I have done programming. It is not what I like to do. I had a robotics class, and I had to program the robots to be automated. It was like, what was the assignment? It was to make an autonomous robot that could basically do a loop around the school. And my school is very small, right? Like, I don't even know. It had to be less, like the size of like a house, maybe. Like, it's so small. Like, there was never more than 100 people. Well, okay, that's not true. There was never more than 200 people in the school at any given time. So yeah, it was very small, and the hallways were literally just like a square. So we had to make our robot go and do a square loop around the school. And I could not. I made the robot. The robot itself would work. Like, it had everything it needed to. But I just could not figure out how to program that thing. And so from that point on, I was always the person that, like, built the robots and stuff. Because it was mostly group projects. And so I was the person who built everything, who'd come up with ideas for stuff, and then I would always have someone else program. Because I'm not very good at it. I know enough to, like, spot mistakes, I suppose. Like, if someone were to say, like, hey, look at this code, what did they do wrong? I could probably find something. Depends on how advanced, right? Like, I don't have an amazing eye for it or anything, but, yeah. Anyway, so I have done programming. But I usually try to avoid it. That class did give me a greater respect for programming, though. Like, I never at one point was like, programming's easy, whatever, but I definitely appreciate it more now. That's the funny thing about school. Like, at no point, they always want you to do extra stuff to make you well-rounded, which makes sense. I get that. But at no point has doing the work to make me well-rounded made me want to do something new. It's only ever made me think, yeah, no, I'm definitely more willing to pay someone who can do that. You know? You won gold for robotics? That's awesome. Yeah, my school being super tiny and whatever, we didn't, so it was really funny because every year, I think it was first robotics, I don't even know, there'd be some robotics competition, and we would, like, the whole school would basically stop whenever our team would go on, and it was televised. I don't know that it was like, I think it was just streamed, they did a stream or whatever. At any rate, it was cool because it would mean that I'd be in the middle of physics, which I hated, and then they'd be like, oh, everyone stop everything, we don't have to do physics right now because we actually have robotics going on. Let's watch our team and support them. And that was awesome because, once again, physics was not something I enjoyed. My favorite is when they would, sorry, hold on. The focus on. Yeah. Anyway, my favorite was when they would, all of when our robotics team would go on, everything would stop. And so there were a couple years where those aligned perfectly with the classes that I could not stand. And, like, loved when that happened. Let's see, which first robotics game did you play in? I never actually went to first personally, but, because, like, robotics isn't my thing. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I could find myself maybe enjoying it, but not enough to go and do it as an extracurricular thing. Okay, real quick, does this pirate ship look okay? Like, if you look at that, you think pirate ship, right? You can tell me if you don't. I need to know. Anyway, so I don't remember what ones. I don't even know if they had names. Like, I know that we did one that was like a steampunk theme. That was, fun. I just remember being in, like, the lunchroom and just dragging any robot that messed up. We're like, what, your robot can't even put the ball in the... Anyway, it was a lot of talk, because not like we could do any better, but we'd be like, oh yeah, that robot stinks, you can't even put... anyway. Yeah, 2017. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I know that I watched other ones from other years, but that's the one I remember most. Because I think it was the one that had the helicopter thingy. Like, they were all supposed to put the balls or keys, whatever it was, they were supposed to get them into the things to, like, raise up the... I don't even remember. But anyway, it's fun that they kind of gave the competition a storyline. But yeah. I remember at one point we had a... there was this, so there was that buzzer or whatever that went off, and then that meant that all the robots had to go and, like, get it onto the platforms so they could, whatever, get the points. And so there was one point where our robot got, like, caught on something, and I swear I've never felt more stressed than just, like, ah, you gotta get on there, stop. But you know, it's fun. Yeah, no, occasionally I try and like look up when the next, like I'm not in high school anymore, but I like to go in and see if I can find um, when the robotics competitions are going to be going, just to watch a couple and just like laugh, because you know I didn't enjoy a whole lot of high school, but that's one of those stupid things that is like we could just goof around with and not have to be so perfect, I guess. Oh, I made a mistake. That should not. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to add clouds. I wasn't going to, but I feel like I will. Because why not? Wow, that's not big enough at all. I kind of miss high school robotics. Wish we had a better team that would treat me right. Yeah, no. Man, high school, freaking. I don't know why everyone has to be like that in high school. And it's not even like anything too crazy. It's not like anyone's like purposely trying to be problematic, but I don't know. It feels like everyone's just. We were all trying too hard, I feel like. You know? Yeah, I don't know. It just. Like, if I wasn't the best, then it's not worth it, I guess. Like, I don't even know what I'm saying, but, like, the point is, it kind of felt like you had to be great at everything, or you weren't worth the time, I suppose. I don't know. I wanted to join school clubs or whatever, but there was no way with the workload that I had to do that I was ever gonna be able to do that. And I barely got the grades I needed. And then they're all like, and then if you don't, you won't be able to stay. And so I'm like, there's no point. I'm not gonna, like, I'm spending all my time making sure my grades look right. Why would I join something to take away from that? Because, like, if I were to have joined something, there was, like, a TSA group that did, like, storytelling. And I'm like, man, I can write a children's book. You know, put me in, coach. Let's do this. Why not? There was also a fashion design competition, and my school actually won that. I thought about joining that a little bit. Because, you know, I like to occasionally pick up a little sewing machine or whatever. I made a dress at one point. Anyway, if I had done that, I would have been able to go to Florida. Could have been super cool. But I didn't, because it was a STEM school, right? So their focus was very much making sure that we all knew sorry, hold on. That we all knew, like, sciencey stuff and math. And I am not a very sciencey, mathy person. I'm more of a math person now than I was before. Actually, sometimes I get called math smart. And it, like, makes my day. But yeah, anyway, so it's like, at no point was I ever really in my comfort zone at that school, just strictly based on the fact that I don't, like, that's not my area of expertise. I'm not necessarily comfortable when doing science or math. Anyway, again, the math thing changed recently. Now I'm actually super comfortable doing math, which is such a crazy thing. But, anyway, during the time, that was not going to be something that worked out well. So yeah, I didn't do that. Didn't go to Florida. But based on stories I've heard, Florida wasn't exactly the most amazing time, so I guess I didn't miss anything. I couldn't do extracurriculars, barely passed stuff. Algebra 2 was just too much for me to handle. Yeah, my last year of high school was crazy because, well, it actually wasn't too crazy. I don't know what I did, but at one point I got to, I basically could have graduated early, but I didn't because they were letting me take college classes. For practically free. And so I wasn't going to just be like, yeah, let me just graduate early and then go pay full prices for college classes. That kind of looks cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, look at that. Oh my gosh, it looks like I kind of know what I'm doing. Anyway, but I had a concurrent class, and it was college algebra. And I, up to that point, was, getting by in math because of extra credit. I would do not great in math, then I would be able to do extra credit, and then it would bring my grade back up to an A. So it looked like I was really good at math, but really I didn't know jack diddly squat. And so, yeah, anyway, all of a sudden, I was like, okay, I have this college math, and if I don't pass it, then it goes onto my transcript as a failed college class, and it's all of a sudden all this extra stress. And then, first day I sit down, I'm like, this will be fine, I'll just, I've passed math every time, it'll be cool. And then the teacher says, oh, by the way, this class does not allow extra credit, period. And then she says, it's not because I don't want to give you extra credit, it's because the college does not allow me to give you extra credit. And I was like, oh gosh. Well, that was super stressful because all of a sudden, this safeguard that I had was ripped out from under me. In my head, though, I was like, it'll be okay because I have been getting, B's on tests in previous classes, so I'll probably do the same here. It'll be fine. And then that first week we took a quiz, and it wasn't a big quiz or anything. It was just 3 questions, do this math, let me know where you're at. Only there were a couple of them, and by the first 2 weeks, I had 11% overall in the class. And I was like, holy crap, I don't know what's going on. Because, I know I'm not bad at math. I'm not terrible at it. I've never been super awesome, but I've never been the person that couldn't do the math either up until this point. And so there was kind of this shock of wow, I'm actually doing kind of terrible. What happened? When did that happen? So that was very scary, especially since it was this was going to be on my college transcript or whatever. And so I went to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I don't know what's going on. I'm not actually stupid. sometimes I joke and I say I'm stupid, but I'm not actually stupid. I should be getting better grades. And at this point, I just kind of wanted to quit. I wanted to just, quit high school. And at this point, I couldn't technically quit yet because I still had one more credit I needed before I could. So I was still stuck. And I'm like, I just want to drop out. Like, who cares? It's not like school matters anyway. And so I just kind of was like, I'm done with it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to hear that I'm bad at math. I know I'm not the worst, so I don't understand why I'm, like, failing. I know that there's at least 3 other people in this class that I'm better at math than. Like, I'm not better than them. I just know that I'm better at math. And anyway, so it got me so mad. I was so sick of just hearing, like, oh, there's another bad grade. Watch your grade tank even more. I was so mad. Anyway, so I'm like, you know what? Whatever. School is whack. Their grading system is stupid. So I'm just going to make sure that I do actually awesome. I'm going to make sure that I can say without a doubt that I'm correct. And then when my grade is still garbage, I know for a fact that it's not me, it's the school system. And then we can move on and I won't have to feel bad about quitting, right? So that was kind of the process in my head. And so I went in and I put extra effort into making sure that I knew what was going on. I wish I had that gumption again because I could use it in my accounting class. I can do the math fine in accounting. I cannot, for some reason, figure out where to put my math. But anyway, so I just sat down and I'm like, I'm going to be awesome at math. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to be so good at math that when I fail this class, it's not because I don't know math, it's because the grading system. So I was like asking questions, I was making sure I was putting effort, so at no point the teacher could say like, oh, well, if you did this, then maybe. And then all of a sudden my grade picked up really, really well, and I was good at math. So I didn't prove that the grading system was garbage, so that's a bummer, but I did end up doing very well in math, so that's nice. Anyway, it's just kind of funny how that all worked. So now I'm actually fairly okay at math. It's funny because when I help my brother, I'll tell him his book's wrong, and he cannot fathom that. He's new to high school, right? And so he's like still kind of trying to understand the ropes. And I'm sitting there like, no, bro, this is the wrong. I know your math book says it's this. It's not. Let's see, was it like a calc class? I have no clue. I have no clue how to do calc. I just know that it was called college algebra, so I'm assuming it's not. The thing is, I don't know how the names work. I always swear, I'm like, yeah, it's this. And someone will be like, well, actually, that's just algebra or calc. It might have been pre-calc. That's probably what it was. They call it algebra, but it's pre-calc. I don't know. I've never been good with names. People ask me, like, well, what classes are you taking? And I'm like, good question. I don't know. I just know that they were required, so that's why I'm taking them. Would not, for the life of me, know what they're called. But yeah, anyway, I'll tell him, I'm like, no, bro, your math book's wrong. And he'll fight me on it. He'll be like, it can't be wrong, it's the math book. And I'm like, well, actually, no, it's wrong. And at one point I told him, I'm like, you email your teacher, say, hey, this is wrong. And you don't even have to ask if it's wrong, just tell her it's wrong. But he's more respectful than that. So he's like, hey, I was just curious about this. Is this the right answer? Because I can't understand how they got it. It was wrong, just like I told him it was. And it's kind of just a nice feeling, because I've never been a math person up until that pre-calc class. And it was all just because I was, like, tired of getting bad grades, and I just wanted to prove the grading system wrong. But yeah, anyway, so now I'm the math person, and everyone in my house is like, hey, I need a math help. And I'm like, I just want to draw, please. Like, I like being good at math, but I also really like not doing math and just drawing. So, anyway. So yeah, I had a choice of pre-calc, but I wanted to do AP Computer Science, because that's one of the few things I'm good at. I'm failing, which is why halfway, which crushed my feelings. Yeah, dang it, that's a bummer. I took a couple of AP classes. They're not fun. And having done AP and concurrent stuff, 100% would recommend concurrent over AP any day. Because there's nothing more frustrating than, like, I don't know, AP is just a different thing. Because it's all so much all of the time. And I don't know how to explain, because you would think that if you're doing like, concurrent is also college, but it's just way easier. And I don't know what the difference is. Because it really is just yet another college thing. But, yeah, AP was a beast. Spent many a day crying over AP. I took, like, AP Gov and History, which that was nice because they kind of played into each other, so I didn't have to really relearn much. Actually, what happened is I took AP Gov first, and Gov made sense to me because it was mostly just court cases. So I would say, like, oh, here's your question about some law. Here's a court case that answers that. And then it was that simple. You know, as long as you remembered court cases, you were fine. Which, that in itself was kind of difficult, but oh well. I guess life goes on or whatever, but I'm trying to, I don't know what my point was. Oh, that was an easier class, and then I went and took AP History, and that wanted me to learn a whole heck of a bunch of new stuff, which wasn't too crazy, because for the most part, it kind of just retouched, it gave context to, my Gov class, because, like, he would mention the history behind just all these different, court cases and laws and all that stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool, but, dang it, I hate when I get, okay, but I didn't have to know historical context, so I didn't care, and so I forgot it. And it's not like we ever went into it really deep. Anyway, so then when I took AP History, there was all of a sudden all the historical context, which helped me memorize it better, because I'd be like, oh, that court case happened here. But then when I took the test, I was like, I don't remember any of the historical stuff. So my history test really was just me redoing a Gov test. Because that's all I ever mentioned. I was like, yeah, well, this court case happened right about then, and it proved this. You know, and so that's what I did with AP Gov as well. So it's not like I was really doing anything new. But anyway, let's see. Okay, I'm going to erase all that. I'm going to move these. Anyway, I feel like I'm telling like half stories the whole time. And that's because I'm distracted. But I hope they make sense at the very least. Let's see. AP Gov would be a huge textbook. I thought AP Gov was a huge textbook, but then when I took AP History, that textbook was even bigger. Like, it dwarfed my Gov textbook. Like, if AP History was that thick, or I mean, if government was that thick, history was like that. Like, it was just so much bigger. It was crazy. Anyway, I did enjoy AP Gov, and I still to this day use AP Gov to support different points in different classes. Like, I have a business class right now that's a business law, and so now whenever they're like, oh, what about this? I'm like, well, actually, this law back in so-and-so, done by the Supreme Court, will tell me that this is the case, you know? And so, anyway. Oh, the big textbooks for AP. Yeah. Man, I've always hated textbooks. They've never been a fun thing for me. I don't like carrying them. I don't like figuring out where to get them. Especially nowadays where I have to buy them. Oh, I hate that. Yeah. They're not fun. I do not love them. But, okay, I'm going to add my shadow now. Yeah, dang it, those textbooks. Nasty things. I didn't end up using the textbook very much for my history and government. There was a point where I started to try to pull out the textbook. But I didn't really use it all that much. It's like hard for me to keep track of where I am. Let's see, filter, blur. And so it's like, what's the point if I'm just rereading everything over and over again? I do remember I have very clear memory of one time. So the cool part about my high school was that they would team up with a local college, and I was allowed to take actual classes up on the college campus itself, which was kind of a cool experience because I hated the high school, so I got to escape it for a little bit. And so, anyway, I remember that one time I was waiting for my college class, which was just like English, whatever. And I had all this time to kill. That was the one bummer thing, is like I always had like 2 hours in between classes, and I couldn't drive, still can't. So it's always like an hour to travel back home. Which meant that there was no point in going home in between classes because it would take an hour to get home, just to have to take an hour to get back to the college, right? So those 2 hours I had to stay and figure out some way to kill the time. And so I would read the textbook occasionally just because I had nothing better to do. And so I remember one time I was all huddled up in the stairway of this really old building that's like from the 1918s, like a long time ago. It's all rickety, and anyway, and I was just reading AP history. Not exactly the most exciting story, but that's a very clear memory to me. And there's like also like a song that I was listening to at the time. I think it was Rain by The Script. Anyway, so that makes me think of history. I'm not loving how this is looking. I want... See, also, did you think after high school was better for you? I feel like high school was just so much drama and stuff. Yeah. Here's the thing. For my high school, I never really noticed all that much drama as far as, like, students went. The thing is, we had, right, I was mentioning it was a very, very small school. And the thing is, you absolutely would see that person again in 5 minutes, right? Like, we all just did laps to get to different classes. So there was no way you were going to hide from anyone in that place, which was so frustrating because there were people, faculty, that I wanted to hide from because every time they talked to me, something bad was up. But anyway, so no one was ever, like, really doing a bunch of drama as far as socially went. Because there was no way to hide from it. If you said something, it was going to get back to them. If you did something, everyone would know about it within, like, 5 minutes. So in that sense, I didn't find a lot of drama. What I did find very frustrating about high school, I don't know, something about the way it was set up. Maybe it's just me because I'm, like, more of an artist at heart. And then to just do, like, I had one art class. Oh, that was the wrong choice. I had one art class and then one digital media class. And I wanted to take the second one that they were supposed to offer because I actually wanted to go into something with digital media. But they didn't offer it, the second one, until the year after I graduated. Like, I graduated that next semester. They were like, okay, now we're going to offer it. And I'm like, you guys suck so much. But it was a lot of stuff like that where it was like, no one was, like, purposely trying to, like, stick it to me, you know? Like, the faculty, the faculty wasn't, like, sitting there plotting against me. Like, I don't think that's how it was, but it always kind of felt like it, because everything just always seemed to not work out for me. Not in anything that I would be able to be, like, really upset about, but it was just minor things, and there comes a point where it's like a bunch of minor things add up, and you don't like being there anyway, and it kind of just got really frustrating. And so I feel like I'm still recovering from high school, which stinks, because I want to just get past it, and I'm trying, but, life goes on, I suppose. I do feel like I'm better off out of high school. It didn't exactly promote healthy mentalities. Mental health was not their concern, you know? And there's just such a, like, lack of control. And I've always hated lack of control. You know, things can go totally wrong, but as long as I'm in control of that wrong, then I'm okay with it, you know? But in high school, it was like, yeah, everything's going wrong, but you don't get to pick anything, you know? So I hated that. But, yeah, anyway, I try to move on. Try to move past it. And one of these days, I feel like I totally will. I don't know that it'll be super soon, And I feel like it might depend on a couple of things, but I'm trying, and that's what matters. Let's see. My school people tended to cause lots of drama geared towards me and even spread false rumors. That's a bummer. I hate that. That stinks. Yeah, we didn't really ever have anything like that. If we did, I was too busy trying to get good grades to understand what was going on. There's occasionally a time, or times where I'll talk to someone from high school, like we'll get together for lunch or something. And we'll just kind of talk and like reminisce or whatever. And most of the time we're like, gosh dang it, aren't you glad you're out of there? Woo. But other times they'll be like, so-and-so did this. And I'm like, I don't even remember vaguely hearing about that. So it could just be that I'm like blind to whatever's going on. I'm too in my head. There were a couple times where I'd be walking with a friend. Like, the school's so small. Instead of really eating lunch, we usually just did laps around the school and talked. And there was one time where I was talking to my friend, and she like stopped me mid-sentence, and I was like, what? She goes, so-and-so just said hi to you. And I'm like, what? Really? I was like, yeah, just barely, like really loud too. Like, it wasn't even just like, oh hi. It was like, oh my gosh, hi! And you did not say anything. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, I might just be totally oblivious to everything. But yeah, so it could just be that I didn't know anything because of moments like that where I'm just like living my life and not paying attention. But yeah, I didn't ever deal with any rumors or anything. I didn't even hear rumors. Like, that's how... There was one time where I was talking to someone, don't even remember. It was like... I know it was like someone's mom in town. And they were talking about high school or whatever. And then at some point they asked me what my high school nickname was. And I'm like, a what? You're like, you know how like kids will give people nicknames? And usually it's just a little bit mean. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I feel like that's fake. And I feel like it has to be. How can you have a school environment if that's what's going on? But anyway, it's one of those things where I always feel like I don't actually know how high school works. People are like, oh yeah, high school. And I'm like, I don't even want to offer stories because I'm like, I feel like they won't make sense to... I think that's not true. I think that's a movie trope that you're, copying or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna add a couple extra sparkles right here. Okay. See, I never had a high school nickname. Oh, I didn't even know that existed. Yeah, I feel like that has to be fake. That's one of those things where I'm like, that has to be a not real thing. How could that be real? Like, what high school did this lady go to? But that's how I feel about most things people say about high school. I'm like, that has got to be something you're making up. It's gotta be. I can't believe that, anyway. But I mean, other people think I'm making stuff up when I say that my high school never had more than 200 people in it. They're like, what do you mean? Like, that's not high school. And I'm like, well, it's what I dealt with, so. Anyway, it's just funny because it's also one of those things where I went from having 200 people in the school at max to having classrooms where there were over 200 people in college, right? So there was like a culture shock there because all of a sudden there were just like people everywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? How do I survive in a place with actual people? And some days I still don't know that I'm actually surviving in a place with actual people, but I'm trying to decide if I want to do more on... This is hard. I might go in with a little bit of red. And... Oh, with the lips, that's what I was going to do. This is like saying, what is your school pizza? And I believe it, especially in towns. Yeah, there's not that many people. Yeah. Around here, there's actual high schools that have, like, thousands of kids. And most people go to those. I just happened to go to this one tiny place because they offered the college stuff that the others couldn't. And honestly, my entire goal with high school was to get through it as fast as I could so that I could get through college as fast as I could. Which has worked because, I graduated last year and I'm already a junior in college. So, got to finish up this year and then next year and I'm done. So I'm definitely going through it pretty quick, but yeah. People asked me if I liked it, and I say, no, I did not. People asked me if they should go, and I say, no, don't send your kids there. Unless you're specifically looking for the college stuff, if that's your goal, then that's a great place to go, but it's not like, it doesn't have sports, doesn't have art stuff. They used to have a language program, they don't even have that now. I was one of the last kids that managed to be able to take it, so I have college Spanish down now, so anyway. Most of my high school was mostly college. Like, the first 2 years, it was just, the first 2 years were my high school, and then from that point on, it was like almost every class was college at that point, whether it was AP, concurrent, or actually going up. I barely convinced myself to go. At this point, it's more, I've already done so much, I might as well just finish and get the degree, and especially now, because after this semester, I'm going to be taking just marketing classes. Like, from this point on, it's just marketing, which is what I wanted to do the entire time, but they had me doing stuff like accounting. Ugh, I hate accounting. Anyway, I just have to finish this class, and then I'm done. They had me doing accounting, they had me doing financial stuff, management information systems. Ew. Hated that one. It's funny though, because that's what my dad does, and so he's just like, why are you having such bad grades here? And I'm just like, maybe it's because I'm just not interested in it. It's like, this is what I do for a living, and I'm like, yeah, good thing, because I'm not gonna do it. Here's the thing, the difference between high school and college is so much. It is so much different going to college than it is going to high school. It's similar, but it's totally different. I would have rather just done college. Like, if I could have figured out a way to skip high school completely and just done the college, it probably, that's what I would do. Because I feel like it's a lot easier I guess it depends on your high school, but college is way easier than high school for me, at least. Um, in my high school, it was like if you turned something in late, you immediately lost like nearly all of the points. Like you could turn it in late for like 25%, you know? Meanwhile, in college, they also have something like that, but it's like the first day it's late, you lose 25%. The second day, you lose another 25, which it seems really dramatic and stuff, but like going from immediately losing over 50% of your grade to only missing, a little portion of it, it's like, wow, I don't have to stress near as much. Um, and it's also like the work seems easier. Don't know how to explain that. It's not necessarily, but it feels easier. Um, the thing is, my problem with college is I will not go and get a dorm. I don't want to pay for that. And my parents don't want to pay for it, and we're both pretty chill with me just living here, since it's cheaper anyway. And then after high school, or not high school, after college, then I'll move out. Both of us are happy with it, both parties. The problem is that means that I'm not on campus, so all these, like, campus activities that would have happened, don't really happen for me, because not only am I not just there, like, I can't just walk over to the other building, I also don't have a car, so I can't just drive over. And so I don't really do anything up on campus other than school. And so I don't enjoy it because there's nothing to enjoy. It's just work. Everyone tells me that if I lived on campus and all I had to do was just walk over, like a block to go somewhere, that it would be 1,000 times more fun because you could just do stuff. But I don't know. So I don't really have, like, a college life. People talk about a college experience, and I'm like, you mean schoolwork? What's this about doing things with people? Don't understand that. Are dorms more expensive than an apartment? I have no clue. I feel like when I briefly looked into it, because sometimes I think to myself, yo, I am an adult and I'm still living with my parents. That is such an issue. Because it's like the stereotypical guy living in his parents' basement when he's in, like, I don't know, just like, it's a gross stereotype and I feel nasty. And then my room's also in the basement, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm living in my parents' basement. I'm such a loser. So occasionally when that gets very strong feeling in me, I go and I look at apartments and stuff, and it seems like they're all pretty much right around $600 a month. And then if you have roommates, right, I think it lowers it. But the thing is, I don't have a job, because if I do a job and school, it's not gonna work out. I'm doing full-time college, and my grades are barely managing as it is. And so then if I were to add having to work on top of it, that's a problem. It takes, now I have school telling me to do one thing, work saying, hey, over here. Anyway, it just feels really stressful, and I feel like I was shut down very quickly. So I'm not really interested in doing that. And it's mostly just because I want to get my college done with, I can't afford a dorm or an apartment right now, so I'm just not doing that. But, yeah. Hey, Quiet Wolf, good to see you again. Let's see, I'm actually the opposite. I work at Walmart, but I don't go to school. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are doing that, where they've stopped school, and And honestly, I'm low-key jealous, but I know that that comes with a whole different set of problems, right? Like, right now, I can't work because I don't have time, and so my money's a little bit tight, right? Like, that's a problem. But the thing is, that's a problem I know how to navigate. I don't necessarily know how to navigate the problems of no school, just work. And so I'm kind of just like, you know what, let's keep the problems I have because I know how to work with them. Um, but there is part of me that's just like, dang, wouldn't it be nice to just not do school? um, but yeah, I'm one of the few. It's so funny because that high school I went to was very much geared towards getting kids to college, right? Everything was like college based. But of like the 35 people that graduated, I'm pretty convinced that only like maybe um like I know 3 people personally that are actually going to school right now. Everyone else is questionable. Um so yeah, it's funny though cuz it's just like crazy how everyone does different things. But yeah, what'll probably happen is I will graduate, and because this business school wants me to have an internship, or before I graduate, I'll probably work wherever my internship is. Um, but hopefully it'll be doing something I like. I do appreciate marketing, so I think it will be. Same over here, I see a whole lot of people who were in my school just working nowadays. Yeah, I feel like if I wasn't afraid, like I feel like I actually, so I have a little bit of fear and anxiety when it comes to school. Like right now, if I had less fear, like the fear and anxiety about going to school is much, much less than working. So right now, that's why I am where I am. If I had less fear and anxiety, things where I keep just telling myself, oh, you've hit this milestone, you might as well hit the next one. Like when I graduated high school, I'm like, well, I'm almost to my associates. I might as well just take one more semester, get my associates. I did. And now I'm like, well, I'm almost. Actually, I took a break right after that. I was like, I need to just breathe for a second, figure out whether I want to do this or not. Took my break, couldn't figure out any other solution, so I went back to school. Now I'm at this point, and I'm still like, maybe I should just drop out. Who knows? Maybe I should just leave. Because it's not exactly fun. Not exactly something I enjoy doing. It's not like it's getting me money. So I do think about it all the time. But then I think to myself, well, after this semester, you have to finish the semester because you already paid for it. But maybe after this semester, everything is marketing, and you know that you enjoy the marketing classes, so you might as well just go into the next semester trying that out, because if it is fun at that point, then you might as well just finish. And so it's very much just been like, well, at this point, I'm so close to this next part, I might as well just get there. And so it's very much just like milestone after milestone or whatever. What is it? Checkpoint? Checkpoint after checkpoint. I keep hitting checkpoints, and I think, well, I'm practically to the next one, I might as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, I think I'm going to try and do a little bit of shading here. I feel like I'm interrupting this important college stuff, so let's just tell jokes, why don't we? I was at my friend's house and we were laughing, he said to plug my nose, so I did, and then I snorted. No, you're not interrupting anything. We're just kind of talking about it, because why not? It's one of those things that it's like I hate to talk about, but I also love to. I don't know if the shading is something I'm going to keep. I just want to try it out and see. Because she's in a cave, so technically there should be some shading. But I don't know that I'm going to do it right, so... Might not. I don't know, I had a conversation with a friend at one point. He was saying that he's going into, what is he going into? It was like film is going to be his major. Film and Arabic. And he's like, it's one of those things where it's very niche, and if it works out, I'm going to be very well off. If it doesn't, then I'm going to be low-key a little bit screwed. And I was like, dang, there you go. He's like, I kind of wish I picked something closer to what you're doing, right, with the marketing and business. At that point, it's just like, you just shift a little bit to the left to get to art, or you shift a little bit to the right to get to more businessy business stuff. And so it's like, it's less of a risk. And that made me feel a lot better, actually. Like, I always feel like I'm not quite where I should be. And then he goes and says that about, like, at least with this degree, you'll never be, like, totally having to do a career change. It's now just a career shift, I guess. Made me feel better. It really did. And I don't know why I mentioned that. I had a reason. It was going to be so good, too. So yeah, I would say keep going. You're already a huge chunk of it seems. Especially if you're getting to the good stuff. A job gets me my money, but management is terrible. I don't want you to have to deal with Karens. Man. I worked, actually, if it wasn't for Corona this year, I would have actually been working, as a balloon artist, crazy enough. And I have dealt with a couple of Karens. Usually they're pretty okay, because it's like they're with their kids, and I'm not ever telling them no to anything, you know? And I also just work for tips, and I'm not going to tell them, you didn't give me money, so you stink, right? So I never really have a reason to fight with them. But there was one time that this kid came over to me. He had $5 in his hand. He says, I want a balloon. And I'm like, cool, what balloon do you want? And he goes and he says, he asks for a sword. So I made him a sword, and it looks awesome. My swords are fantastic, by the way. They're not just that little, like, tea balloon that you get. My swords are like pirate swords. They're neat. Anyway, so I go in and I make him a sword, and out of his excitement, he just drops the $5 bill on the counter and runs. And I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on. But he didn't hear me. He was so fast. Yeah, this kid was so fast. Anyway, he was gone, and I'm like, that was not a $5 balloon. Like, some people give me $5 when I make them balloons like that. No bigs. But usually it's not a kid with his parents' money. It's usually, like, a grandpa who just thinks what I'm doing is cool. I love grandpas. They give me good money. Anyway, so he just darted off, and I'm like, that was not... I'm going to hold out on putting that in my tip jar, because I feel like they're going to come back and say, hey, you know, That was a little bit more than I expected. And, like, I don't have any qualms with them doing that, so I'm just gonna hold on to it. And I did. But then the mom came back and she's like, "You took advantage of this child." I'm like, "Girl, no." The money's not even in my money yet. Like, I'm not trying to steal from you and your kid. He just ran off, and I have other people in line, so I can't afford to be like, "Hold on, ma'am, let me go just chase this kid." That doesn't look great either. And so, anyway, it was also funny, because I was about, let's see, how old was I at the time? I must have been, like, 13, 14 at the time. And I'm like, "You're yelling at me, a child, about your child who's, like, probably, 2 years younger than me? He's not that young. He was just really fast, and I couldn't stop him. So, look who's the jerk now." But yeah, anyway, Karens. I have the utmost respect for people who work in service industries and all that, because I could never. He's the one that gave it to you. It's not yeah, I agree with you. Not my fault, but, whatever. I didn't really care. I gave her the money. Get out of here. Who cares? But, yeah, it's more of just, like, one of those stories I can tell people, like, "Yes, I too have dealt with a Karen. I'm like you." My favorite person, though, who I ever gave a balloon to, there was this one kid, and at first I could not stand him because he kept, like, yelling at me. It wasn't like an aggressive yell, like, he wasn't being mean per se. He was just more being super loud and demanding. So it'd be like, "I want this. I want this too, please." But, like, he would never add please. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I never felt like he was being rude. I just felt like he was just talking really intensely and really loudly. And, like, anyway, so, hold on. Okay. Anyway, so it's like, it was just more of annoying because he kept asking for things. And I was like, "Man, I really don't want to make this many balloons for you because I have a dang good feeling that you're not going to give me any money." And I was fully right about that. But it doesn't really matter. What matters is that this kid then goes, wait, hold on. Okay, anyway, his mom comes by. No, let me tell you what I made for him first, that gives context. Okay, so he asks for a sword. I make him a sword. Not a big deal, it's one balloon. I make it easy peasy. He then asks for a knight helmet, like one of those ones, like the metal helmets that go like clunk or whatever. He asked for that, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no, sir, I do not know how to make that. So sorry." And then he asked for like a shield, and I'm like, "Bud, no, I don't know how to make that either. I'm sorry." And like I could if I really wanted to, but like I didn't have the time or the balloons, and especially not if he's gonna be not paying me, It's gonna not work out well. Okay, anyway, so I made him just the sword. And then his mom sees that he's kind of just pestering me a little bit. And shout out to his mom for not being a Karen. And coming by and saying like, "Okay, you wanted to be a balloon night." His mom comes by and says, "Okay, it's time to go. Say goodbye to the nice lady." And I'm like, "Okay, thanks, bye." But what I didn't expect is this kid then, all of a sudden, in the most gentlemanly voice he did the deepest bow, right? Arms out and everything. And then he, like, the sword, too, just added everything to it. And he goes, "Thank you, m'lady," and then leaves. And that was so funny to me. Like, this kid who's been sitting there, I want this, I want that. All of a sudden, it's just, "Thank you, m'lady," in the most respectful and gentlemanly manner I've ever seen. And I'm like, that is a hoot. I love that. And I think about him occasionally now. I'm just like, I hope he's doing well. Because that was awesome. I didn't expect it, didn't know what to do with it right after it happened, but I'm glad it did, because that was awesome. And that's one of the funniest things that's ever happened to me when I was doing balloons. Other than that, it's usually just like, "Hey, what can I do for you? Oh, you'd like this? Awesome, I can totally make that. Let's do it." And then I just make it. But yeah, Corona definitely stopped the whole party thing, so I really haven't been working in balloons this year. It's kind of been a nice break, but mostly because I've been able to go to, like, other things that I wouldn't normally be able to. Because usually I work during events. So, like, the 4th of July, I was able to go to a friend's house, and I normally wouldn't because I'd be working. So, it's nice, but I also kind of miss having the extra cash. Let's see, what's the coolest balloon you've ever made? Aw, dang. I made... What was my favorite? I used to make penguins, which were super cute. But then people kept asking for penguins, and I'm over it now, so I don't even say I can make them anymore. I'm like, nope. Takes too many balloons, it takes too long, I'm tired, and I don't want to do it. I'm trying to think. I made a lobster one time. Just a lobster, because why not? And I used balloons to make, like, the rubber bands that keep the claws together, you know? So that was fun. I'm trying to think of what else I made. One of my most popular is this little turtle bracelet. And I'm pretty sure I got the pattern from someone on YouTube. The thing is, it was like a million years ago. But now I do that whenever someone's like, "Can you make something for my little baby? Just something, you know, like a dog." And I'm like, actually, would you like something that they don't even have to hold? And all the parents are like, "Yes, please. What do you have?" I actually have this tiny little turtle. And everyone loves it. I feel like I've made cool stuff, but now that you've asked, I can't think of any of it. Okay, I'm kind of loving the shading. So I am going to keep going on with it. So I mean, I make unicorns sometimes. They have like actual horns that stand up and stuff. And they're some of my coolest because it's not like a horn. Like, I don't blow up a balloon to get the horn, so it's not like a fat horn. It's like just the little bit of the like the end of the balloon that doesn't really get blown up. I just stick that on the unicorn, and then it makes a horn that's like actually like the right size, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, I've done some cool stuff. If I had more patience, I would do more cool stuff, but most of the time it's just me trying to do whatever. Like, I made an armadillo one. Did I make an armadillo? I know I made an armadillo one time. A bat. Occasionally, at the very beginning of all of my stuff, my mom would join me, right? Because I was young, a child, really. And so people would be like, well, what can you make? And my mom would always be like, challenge her. And I'd be like, shush, Mom. Now they're going to make me want to do something with more balloons than I'm really ready to give. And then they'd always be like, can you do this crazy thing? And I'd be like, gosh dang it, I can actually. Okay, let's do it. And so, I've made deer. Oh, no, my coolest is one time for high school, I made balloon spiders, like giant balloon spiders. Not like too big, but like they were definitely bigger than your head. And I made them to decorate the school dance. And they looked awesome. Like, we put them in like different spider webs and stuff, and I'm like, these look like they could wreck you up. It's so cool. Those are some of my favorites. I actually went and custom ordered black balloons for that. Not because I had to, but because I'm like, I want to show off here today. I want to be the balloon artist of this school. Because there were a couple other people who'd be like, yeah, I can do balloons. And I'm like, no, no, that's my thing. We're going to have a little war here, and I'm going to win. I'm the balloon person. You guys can talk about balloons and have fun with that, but I'm the balloon person. Anyway, so I went above and beyond a little bit there. Plus I got to practice some, so that's always nice. Yeah, I loved those balloon spiders, and everyone was talking about them the next day. They're like, those were so cool. I'm like, I can't even believe you saw them, honestly. Like, the room was so dark, but yes, they were awesome. The coolest, really. Let's see, I'm just here. I'm not helping, but I'm just here. Quiet Wolf, you're always welcome, and you just being here makes my day, so you are helping. The emotional support is fantastic. It always helps when there's people here that I can feel like I'm directing my words to, because like if I'm just talking to myself, I feel dumb. See, imagine glow-in-the-dark balloon spiders. That would be so cool. I know there's glow-in-the-dark balloons, and they're like kind of a green, which would be actually pretty dope. Because I know there's spiders out there that kind of have that, like they look like they're white, but they're off-white enough. So that could be really cool. I also one time made a snake, and I know that doesn't sound really cool because every time people always joke, they're like, what, you can make a snake? And I'm like, yeah, I can make a snake. And they're like, well, that's dumb, you just blow up the balloon. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This one has, like, a tongue, it's got eyeballs, like, this is a snake. And then that always captures their attention, because they go from thinking, like, oh, just a stupid blow up the balloon, to, like, oh, you're putting, like, real effort, okay. And so one time I made this snake, and I had seen in some tutorial thing, someone mentioned that what you can do is add just a little bit of sugar to your balloon before you blow it up, just like a pinch. And then you can make a rattle that rattles. And so I made a snake, I made a little rattle for the tail. It had sugar in it, so then as you walked with it, it went shh, which was so cool. Definitely used that one to prank my dad, because he is not a big fan of snakes. So of course I use this against him all the time, because I'm a little bit of a jerk. She looks pretty. Okay. I feel like now that I've done that, I should probably do it with the treasure chest as well, because it's looking mighty awfully bright. So I'm just going to do that. Oh, stop. How long is your longest stream? Good question. Probably this one, frankly. I don't even know how long I've been doing this. It says it started 2 hours ago. So this is probably like my longest one. Or it'll probably end up being my longest one. I'm gonna try and finish the shading for the treasure chest, and then I think I'll probably be done. I was smart this time and went and got something to eat beforehand, which probably accounts for why I've been able to go so long. Usually about an hour in, I'm like, oh, I forgot that I haven't eaten anything today. I should probably do that. And then I go and eat. But this time, I've eaten something, so... Okay. What on earth is that? What layer is that on? Man, that stinks. I hate that that's the layer it picked. Okay, we're fine though. Let's see. Well, I'm not going to end just now. I got to finish the shading. Then I also have to edit it because it's going to be, this is going to be part of that video that I was talking about with all the pirates and stuff, which I think will be super cool when it's all done. But basically what has to happen is each of these pictures that I'm drawing has to have like 2 so that they can switch and show an action. And so for this one, she's going to kind of be playing around with money. Oh, this is going to work out so good. Ooh, okay. I'm excited now. Oh, dang, that adds so much dimension. Woohoo! Okay. I'm very excited. So it says I'm listening to I Love You in Morse code. And I love it. Okay, so answer me this. Is when you say that, are you talking about like just the beep 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 beep? Or is that like a song? Because that would be a dope song name, actually. But if it's just the beep 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 beep, that's fun. Woo! This is looking awesome. Okay. So now that I've done that, I'm now going to switch the layer that it's looking at. Get a sense of where I need to change some stuff. Oh, I didn't color that? What the heck? That is so frustrating, but okay. Bummer, but we're gonna be okay. Okay, I'm looking, I'm seeing. Gonna real quick look over here. See, we're there too. Okay, okay. Needs. Okay. Let's see, I was wondering if you had like a Discord or anything. I don't have a Discord. I've heard people use it before, but I don't really. I've never really taken a look into it. Okay, I am going to layer from canvas. And then I'm going to add a layer from canvas. Oh, did I? Oh, why is that at 50? That's weird. Okay, so this is what it's kind of going to look like. So it kind of looks like she's like, I don't know, dropping, like sprinkling money down into the, whatever, into the treasure chest. And that's kind of what it's gonna do in the video. Well, I'm pretty happy with how all of that turned out. I might play around with the blur in the background. I saved all the original layers so I can do that. But other than that, I'm pretty much good with how this has worked out. I'm glad I went in and did the shading. I wasn't originally going to because I thought it looked fine, but with her being inside of the cave, it needed it. I'm very excited about how this worked out. Okay, well, it's been like 3 hours, which that makes this definitely the longest stream I've ever done. And I'm done with the drawing, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here because this is a good point and I have nothing else prepared to work on. So thank you to everyone who joined. Let's see other places besides here to like contact you and stuff. I have an Instagram and I have a Twitter. I think you can just go to my channel, click the little icons, And if not, I think they're in the description. Yeah, they're in the description, so that's a way to contact me. Or you can just comment on my videos and stuff. I'm pretty chill about just messing around there. But yeah, so thank you to everyone who joined me during this, because it makes it a lot more enjoyable for me. And I assume that talking with me isn't the most or the least enjoyable thing in the world. So anyway, thank you again. I'm going to wrap it up now, but I'll probably be doing another stream sometime soon. Depends on what this next week of school looks like, because gosh dang, I've got things going on, but I'm definitely going to try and keep doing, or try to keep doing this, because I do enjoy it. So